Hello, I'm Mark Hall-Patton. I want to welcome you to the Clark County Museum. Today we're going to talk about the new exhibit out here at the museum. It's called Soft Focus. It's a different way of looking at the historic image collection here at the museum. We have a large collection of historic photographs in the museum, and we were approached by an organization of art quilters who talked to us about the idea of interpreting some of the historic images through art quilts. And we thought that's an interesting idea. It's another way of using some of the historic images that are here, and we have well over 20,000 historic images in the museum collection. And so the registrar here, Cindy, chose 40 images to offer as a set of images for the quilters to look at. Quilters looked at those and came up with art quilts, their interpretations of those images. Now, these photographs that you see here, these were the photographs that were selected for the artists to pick from. And interestingly, even though there were all of these photographs to pick from, some artists picked the same photographs. We have some photographs that 3 different artists picked. Some picked different ones. It's kind of interesting. It's just what each artist wanted to work with. Over here, we have a dried area, dried lake bed. 3 very different, quite beautiful pieces, but very different ways of interpreting that particular image. And it's one of the things that makes it very interesting from the standpoint of us here at the museum and seeing how the artists who created these artworks, these quilts, chose to interpret these historic images. Now, one thing that we did ask for from each of the artists was an artist statement. You can see here an historic image of downtown Las Vegas and a quilt that kind of picks up on downtown Las Vegas with bright lights and the sparkle and all of that. And then for each one, you'll see an artist statement about what the artist thought about in terms of the quilt that they did. And sometimes ones that, like this one, you might think that this was, say, a row of showgirls and their headdresses. No, this is actually based on a row of hoppers inside of basic magnesium. Chief Irataba here, an historic image of Chief Irataba, and a much more modern sort of rendition, an art quilt here. And this one, which is very sort of dark quilt, but it's based on a line of kids at basic grammar school in costume for Halloween many, many years ago in the 1950s. Now here we have 2 quilts, very different quilts, but based on the same image. So as you look at these, they are interesting how the quilters chose to interpret the original images. As we were putting this together, as Malcolm, the curator of exhibits here, was putting together this particular exhibit, it turned out that the donor of this particular image to the museum collection was also the quilter in this case. So it was kind of nice. We didn't, hadn't planned on that, but it worked out that way. And these 2 quilts are based on this. Obviously, very different interpretations, but you can see that they were, taken from that image, and both very nice quilts. Now, to put together this exhibit, we worked with desert designers and art quilts, etc. We want to thank them for being a part of this exhibit. We hope that you'll come out and see the exhibit here. We are open 7 days a week, 9 to 4:30. It is $2, I know, $2 to get in. Unless you're like me and over 55, then it's $1, or not like me and under 18, then it's $1. So do come out and visit the museum. Remember to wear a mask. You do have to wear a mask anytime you're on the museum grounds, indoors or outdoors. All the buildings are open, and we do have some that you have to look through the plexiglass at the openings, and that some you can't go inside, but you can see inside all of the buildings out here. Most of the buildings you can still go inside. You can come through the main building here. Come on out and join us.